Hi guys. Today was another fun day in clinical trial land. I have a canker sore on the underside of my tongue. It's making it really hard to talk. But that's not the subject of the video. So today I took Uber down because I wanted to try it out, and I scheduled it in advance, and that all worked out really good. So definitely like having that as an option. Got down there, did my labs, went up to the 8th floor, which is where the clinical trials happen. All of the clinical trial magic happens. So I'm waiting outside, and I was waiting a little longer than I normally do. They're normally kind of Johnny on the spot. But finally, the nurse, like the main nurse who runs the clinical trial, she comes out and she says to me, these are not her words, these are my words. She says, "Your blood work sucks and you cannot do the injection today." And I was like, oh my gosh, you have got to be kidding me. And I was like, and I said, well, what parts were bad? And she said, mainly your white blood count and your platelets. And I said, okay, so do I need to go home and eat a couple of big steaks? And she said, yeah, pretty much. And I was like, okay. And she said, I'll give you a call when we know more about what we want to do for next steps. And I said, okay. And then I had to call Sean, and because we had already agreed that he was going to pick me up because he was going to be at his apartment, and that's pretty close to the cancer center. So I called him and I said, hey, you're not going to leave this, but blah, 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 blah. Can you come get me? And he was like, yeah, of course. And so he comes to pick me up, and he's like, are you okay? And I said, I feel so defeated. And he was like, yeah, I can see that. So anyway, oh please. Okay. So, all right. So one of the counts that they were looking at was my white blood cell. Okay. So the range for your white blood cell count is between 4 and 11. Okay. Guess what my white blood cell count was. Okay. Just guess in your head. Put a count in your head. Remember, the range is 4 to 11. You got a guess in your head? Put a guess in your head. Got it? Okay. Mine is 1.18. Can you believe that? It gets better. And then the other one that she said was kind of off its rocker was my platelet count. So platelet count, the range is 150 to 450. Okay? So, all right, put another guess in your head what my platelet count is. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, everybody have a guess in your head? In their head on what my count is? Remember, the range is 150 to 450. Everybody got one? Okay. Mine is 49. So, yeah, no wonder I was denied entrance. So, anyway, we have a plan. And the nurse, did call me back, and, I did tell her, I said, hey, I never did get a chance to tell you guys because I was never I was never let in, but I did catch a virus, on Thursday. I've been sick since Thursday, really, I guess since Friday of last week. Gave her all my symptoms. I was like, I never had a fever or anything like that, but, I had body aches and, whatever, give her all my symptoms. So I definitely had a virus. I couldn't, my home health people couldn't come out to see me because of the winter storm. I was just really stuck, stuck and just made to kind of just suffer here at the house. And, she was just like, okay, and that's fine. And she was just like, she's like, you just got to be really careful, not to be around people, who are sick. I was like, I'm not around okay. I mean, I leave the house so infrequently. You know, I leave the house on Wednesdays to go to Bible study and Thursdays to go to church. And even that, you know, when Bible study got canceled tonight, you know, just because we don't want people out on the roads after dark when things start to refreeze. So, yeah. And then she said, we want to do your labs again on Friday. And I was like, okay, cool. But yeah, so that's my fun today in clinical trial world. So fun. But yeah. And by the way, this is all because of the lomustine. This has nothing to do with the injection. These are all side effects of the lomustine. It will wreck your immune system. There's like a little bell curve that it does to your immune system. When I was reading about it, I'm not even to the top. Haven't even turned the corner of what it does to your immune system. Great, wonderful. I think I was reading it. You gotta be like it peaks at weeks 3 to 5 for wrecking your immune system. The lomustine does. So I can see why people don't take this on a regular basis. Sucks. Awful. Anyway, so that's my adventure. Yay! This is so fun. Okay. All right. Gotta go. Love you. Bye.